Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. If you're going to move forward, if you're going to build a life of meaning, the first step is to get real with yourself. Stop and think, how many times have you acted without a single thought? How many times have you walked right into the same mistake, expecting a different result? That's what we're talking about here, letting go of the habit of ignoring the obvious. Recognizing when you're wasting time might sound simple, but it's one of the most important and challenging steps toward personal growth. It's easy to get swept up in the busyness of life, where days blend together and we're constantly reacting to what's happening around us, rather than consciously choosing how to spend our time. But here's the truth: most people go through life unaware of the patterns they're trapped in. They spend their energy on things that add little value, leaving them wondering why they feel stuck or why their goals always seem out of reach. Wasting time isn't always obvious. It's not just about scrolling on your phone for hours or binge watching another season of a show you're only halfway interested in. Wasting time can also look like getting caught up in other people's drama, overthinking every decision to the point of paralysis, or saying yes to things that don't serve you. It's about the subtle habits that drain your energy, even if you don't realize it. For instance, maybe you constantly replay past mistakes in your mind, or you spend hours in conversations that don't lead anywhere. Every time you do these things, you're giving away precious moments that could be used to build the life you actually want. The thing about time-wasting habits is that they're comfortable, and comfort is hard to let go of. We often cling to what feels familiar, even if it's not beneficial, because it doesn't require change, growth. On the other hand, demands that you step outside of your comfort zone, that you face the discomfort of leaving behind what's easy in favor of what's right for your future. If you want to get serious about achieving your goals, you have to get just as serious about analyzing how you spend your time and cutting off anything that isn't serving you. Ask yourself, what do I actually want? And more importantly, are my actions supporting this goal? When you start paying attention, you might be surprised to find that a lot of what you're doing each day has nothing to do with where you want to go. You might say you want to build a successful career, but if you spend your time hanging out with people who don't inspire you, or worse, drain you, you're not on the path to success, you're just busy. And being busy is not the same as being productive. This is where real self-awareness comes into play. It's about looking at your life with a critical eye and seeing where you're wasting time. One powerful way to identify these patterns is to track your time. Spend a week writing down how you're spending every hour of the day. It may seem tedious, but you'll be shocked at what you find. Maybe you realize you're spending more time on distractions than on your actual goals, or you find that you're dedicating hours to tasks that could be completed in minutes with a bit of focus. Often people don't want to confront this because it means admitting that a lot of their actions are not serving them. But this is necessary if you want to break free from time-wasting habits. Once you see where your time is going, the next step is to set boundaries. Boundaries are the armor that protects your time from being stolen by distractions, by other people's agendas, or by your own bad habits. If you find yourself spending too much time on social media, set a limit on your usage. If you tend to say yes to every request that comes your way, practice saying no more often. Boundaries can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to being available to everyone at all times. But they're essential if you want to reclaim control over your time. Don't just set boundaries, enforce them. People might not understand at first, but over time, they'll come to respect them. And more importantly, you'll start respecting yourself more too. When you enforce boundaries, you're sending a message that your time is valuable and that you're serious about your growth. You're choosing to put yourself and your goals first. And that's a powerful shift. Remember that reclaiming wasted time isn't about being rigid. It's about being intentional. Life is not meant to be a strict schedule of productivity. There's space for rest, for joy, and for connecting with others. But intentionality means that even these moments are aligned with what you value. Instead of mindlessly scrolling, you choose to watch or read something that inspires you. Instead of going along with someone else's plans, you choose how and with whom to spend your time. The difference lies in the choice. When you're intentional, you're not just going through the motions, you're actively building a life that reflects your goals and values. Every day we're given the same 24 hours, and what we do with those hours shapes our lives. The question isn't whether you have enough time, it's whether you're using it wisely. Choosing wisdom over impulse is about mastering the art of patience and long-term thinking. It's about understanding that the most rewarding choices often require time, focus, and the ability to delay gratification. Acting impulsively might feel good in the moment, but it often leads to regrets or setbacks that could have been avoided with just a little more thought. Wisdom is knowing that there is power in pause and giving yourself the space to assess a situation before acting. It's recognizing that every action you take shapes your life, and if you want to build something meaningful, you can't be driven by fleeting emotions or whims. Impulse is powerful and can feel like the easiest route when we're looking for quick solutions. Whether it's making a decision out of anger, buying something we don't need, or saying something we later regret, impulse acts like a spark that can easily ignite chaos. Acting on impulse might offer a short-lived thrill, but that thrill often comes at the cost of stability, integrity, or even relationships. Wisdom, on the other hand, is the cool-headed guide that reminds us that real satisfaction and growth come from making decisions that align with our deeper goals. While it might not be as instantly gratifying, wisdom is what helps us build a life that's stable, fulfilling, and true to who we are. Think of wisdom as the ability to step back from the moment, to look at the bigger picture, and to ask yourself if what you're about to do supports the person you're trying to become. Wisdom requires foresight. It asks you to imagine the consequences of your actions and to weigh whether they align with the life you want. This isn't always easy, especially in a world that encourages instant rewards and quick fixes. Social media ads and even some of the people around us push us toward impulsive behavior, convincing us that we need to act now or risk missing out. But wisdom asks us to slow down, to resist the pressure, and to choose what's right over what's convenient. Wisdom also involves choosing your battles. Not everything needs a reaction, and not every situation deserves your energy. When you act on impulse, you're often acting out of emotion rather than reason, reacting to whatever's in front of you without considering whether it's even worth your time. But when you choose wisdom, you're selective. You ask yourself, is this worth it? Is this going to help me grow, or is it just going to drain me? It's about deciding where to invest your energy and when to simply let things go. Choosing not to react to every little thing isn't weakness, it's a sign of inner strength and self-respect. It's saying, I know who I am and what I stand for, and I won't waste my time on things that don't matter. Another key aspect of choosing wisdom over impulse is learning from past experiences. Wisdom isn't something you're born with, it's something you develop over time, often through mistakes. Every time you've acted impulsively and felt regret, you were given a lesson. The question is, are you learning from those lessons, or are you repeating the same behaviors? If you want to build wisdom, you need to be willing to reflect on your past actions and recognize where you could have made better choices. Reflection allows you to grow, to understand what triggers your impulses, and to develop strategies to handle those triggers more effectively in the future. One way to cultivate wisdom is through discipline. Discipline is what gives you the strength to resist impulse, to say no when every part of you wants to say yes to something you know isn't good for you. Discipline helps you stay focused on your long-term goals, even when distractions are all around you. It's not about denying yourself or living a life without joy. It's about aligning your actions with your values. Discipline is choosing to go to the gym even when you don't feel like it, to work on your goals instead of wasting time, or to save money instead of spending it on something you don't really need. Each disciplined choice you make builds your inner strength and fortifies your commitment to your future. Another tool in choosing wisdom over impulse is developing emotional awareness. Emotions are powerful, and they're often the driving force behind impulsive actions. But when you're aware of your emotions, when you can recognize them without being controlled by them, you're better equipped to make wise decisions. Emotional awareness is about pausing when you feel that rush of anger, sadness, or excitement and asking yourself, is this emotion leading me in the right direction, or am I reacting out of habit? By becoming aware of your emotional triggers, you can create a buffer between feeling and action, giving you the chance to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Choosing wisdom over impulse means building a life that reflects your deepest values, your highest goals, and your true self. It's about recognizing that every decision you make, no matter how small, contributes to the person you're becoming. When you choose wisdom, you're investing in a future that aligns with your vision for yourself. You're making decisions that will stand the test of time, decisions that you can look back on with pride. Wisdom is the foundation of a life well lived, a life built on integrity, patience, and a clear sense of purpose. And while it may take longer to see the rewards of wise choices, those rewards are lasting and deeply fulfilling, far beyond what any impulsive action could ever offer. Identifying the influences around you is one of the most powerful steps toward taking control of your life and aligning it with your goals. Whether you realize it or not, your thoughts, actions, and ultimately your decisions are shaped by the people, environments, and media that surround you. From family and friends to coworkers, mentors, and even social media feeds, each influence plays a role in shaping your mindset and the way you see the world. Some influences are positive, they challenge you, inspire growth, and push you toward your goals. But others can hold you back, trapping you in cycles of negativity, complacency, or even self-doubt. Learning to identify which influences serve you and which don't is a fundamental part of self-awareness and personal growth. The people closest to you, your inner circle, have an enormous impact on your life. Studies have shown that we tend to adopt the habits, attitudes, and even mindsets of those we spend the most time with. If you're surrounded by people who have ambition, who work hard, who uplift others, and who are constantly looking to improve, that energy is contagious. It inspires you to do the same. However, if your circle includes people who are negative, who complain without seeking solutions, or who discourage you from pursuing your goals, that energy is equally contagious. It's like having a heavy weight around your neck, pulling you down and holding you back from reaching your potential. Choosing who you allow in your circle is crucial because each interaction either adds to or takes away from your energy and motivation. Take a moment to assess your relationships. Ask yourself who are the people that energize you, that make you feel capable, and that celebrate your achievements. And on the flip side, who are the people that leave you feeling drained, doubtful, or anxious? It may be a difficult realization, but sometimes the people we care about most are the very ones influencing us negatively. This doesn't mean you have to cut them out of your life completely, but it does mean you need to set boundaries to protect your mental and emotional health. Setting boundaries is key when dealing with influences that don't serve you. If certain friends or family members are constantly negative or dismissive of your goals, limit the time you spend with them or steer conversations away from topics that invite criticism. Boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They allow you to maintain relationships without sacrificing your well-being or allowing negativity to seep into your mindset. Boundaries help you protect the goals and aspirations you're working toward by giving you the space to focus on what truly matters. Your environment itself has a significant influence on your mindset and productivity. Your surroundings can either be a space for growth and focus or a place filled with distractions and clutter that slows you down. Think about where you spend most of your time, whether it's your home, your workspace, or even the places you go to unwind. Do these places make you feel energized, organized, and clear-minded, or do they add to a sense of chaos and stress? Sometimes simply decluttering your space or creating a dedicated area for focusing on your goals can shift your mindset significantly. Your environment should reflect your ambitions. If you're serious about your goals, create an environment that supports them. Another major influence is the content you consume daily. In today's digital age, we're constantly exposed to news, social media, and entertainment that shape how we see ourselves in the world. Scrolling through your feed, watching certain shows, or reading particular articles may seem harmless, but each piece of content leaves an impression. If you're constantly consuming content that promotes negativity, fear, or superficial values, that energy will likely show up in your own thoughts and actions. Choose content that aligns with your values and uplifts you. Follow creators who inspire you, read books that challenge you, and listen to podcasts that educate you. Be selective about what you allow into your mental space, as these choices influence how you approach your own life. One of the best ways to cultivate positive influences is to seek out mentors and role models. These can be people you know personally or figures you admire from a distance. Mentors and role models provide a roadmap of what's possible. They offer lessons from their own journeys and demonstrate qualities you want to develop. When you have someone to look up to, it's easier to stay focused on your path and make wise decisions. Find people who have achieved what you aspire to, who embody the values you hold dear, and who are genuinely invested in seeing others succeed. Spend time around people who challenge you to think bigger, to push harder, and to aim higher. Identifying the influences in your life is about taking ownership of the energy you allow into your world. It's about recognizing that you have a choice in who and what you surround yourself with, and understanding that these choices shape your actions, your mindset, and your ability to reach your goals. Personal growth isn't just about what you do, it's about the environments and influences you choose to keep. It's easy to overlook these influences and go through life on autopilot, reacting to whatever energy surrounds you. But true growth requires intentionality. It requires the courage to set boundaries, the wisdom to seek out positive influences, and the clarity to remove the influences that don't serve you. When you consciously choose whose or what influences you, you empower yourself to create a life that aligns with your deepest goals and values. You're no longer a passive participant reacting to external forces, but an active creator of your own reality. By surrounding yourself with positive influences, setting healthy boundaries, and maintaining an environment that supports your vision, you set yourself up for success. You give yourself the foundation to grow, to reach new heights, and to become the person you're truly meant to be. Learning from past mistakes is one of the most effective ways to grow and make wiser choices in the future. Mistakes are often seen as setbacks, but they can actually be some of the most powerful teachers if we take the time to reflect on them. When we make a mistake, it's easy to dwell on the negative, to feel regret, or to beat ourselves up over what we could have done differently. But each mistake is an opportunity, a chance to gain insight, adjust our approach, and avoid similar pitfalls in the future. It's about shifting your perspective from seeing mistakes as failures to viewing them as stepping stones that lead to self-awareness, resilience, and better decision-making. The first step in learning from a mistake is recognizing it for what it is. This requires honesty and humility. Sometimes pride or denial can make it difficult to admit when we've made a poor choice. We may try to justify our actions, shift the blame, or simply ignore the mistake altogether. But real growth begins with the willingness to own up to our actions, to look ourselves in the mirror and say, I made a mistake, and there's something here I can learn. Owning your mistakes doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. It shows that you're committed to learning and improving, rather than pretending to be flawless. Once you've recognized and acknowledged your mistake, the next step is reflection. Reflection means looking back and examining what led to the mistake, the thought processes and emotions that influence your decisions, and the consequences that follow. Reflection is like rewinding a movie and studying each scene carefully, trying to understand how everything unfolded the way it did. Were you acting out of impulse? Were you influenced by external pressures? Did you overlook certain details, or were you perhaps overconfident in your approach? Reflection helps you uncover the underlying patterns that might have contributed to the mistake. It requires patience and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths, but it's essential for genuine learning and self-improvement. It's important to focus not just on what went wrong, but also on what you might do differently next time. Every mistake has a lesson, and the goal is to use that lesson to create a plan for future actions. For example, if you made a financial mistake like overspending on something you didn't need, the lesson might be about setting a budget, understanding your needs versus wants, or practicing patience before making a purchase. By identifying the lesson and thinking about how you can apply it moving forward, you turn a negative experience into a tool for personal growth. You equip yourself with strategies to prevent similar errors in the future, making you more prepared and intentional in your decisions. Another important aspect of learning from mistakes is letting go of guilt and self-blame. It's natural to feel disappointed or even embarrassed after making a mistake, but holding on to these feelings can be counterproductive. Guilt keeps you stuck in the past, replaying the mistake over and over again without moving forward. Remember, the goal isn't to punish yourself, it's to learn. Forgive yourself for the error, acknowledge that you're human, and give yourself permission to grow from the experience. Self-forgiveness doesn't mean ignoring the mistake, it means accepting it as part of your journey and using it as motivation to become better. Sometimes learning from a mistake requires seeking feedback from others. This could mean talking to a friend, a mentor, or someone you trust who can offer a different perspective. Often, others can see things we might have missed, pointing out patterns, blind spots, or possible solutions that weren't obvious to us. Seeking feedback shows that you're open to learning and willing to make adjustments. It takes courage to hear someone else's perspective, especially if it highlights areas where you may have gone wrong. But constructive feedback can be invaluable in helping you grow and gain a more well-rounded understanding of the situation. As you learn from your mistakes, it's also important to celebrate the progress you're making. Every time you make a different choice based on a lesson from the past, you're building resilience and strengthening your decision-making skills. You're transforming setbacks into growth, demonstrating to yourself that you're capable of change and improvement. Each small step forward, each moment of self-awareness is a win. Recognize these wins and remind yourself that growth is a continuous process. You don't have to be perfect, but each lesson brings you closer to becoming the person you want to be. Mistakes are inevitable. No matter how careful, experienced, or knowledgeable you are, there will always be times when things don't go as planned. The difference between people who grow and those who stay stagnant is not the number of mistakes they make, but how they respond to them. Some people choose to ignore their mistakes, repeating the same actions and wondering why they're stuck in the same cycles. Others see mistakes as a chance to become wiser, more resilient, and more intentional in their choices. When you choose to learn from your mistakes, you're choosing growth over comfort, wisdom over ignorance, and progress over perfection. Mistakes are only as valuable as the lessons we take from them. If we're willing to face them, to understand them, and to make changes based on what we've learned, then mistakes become powerful tools in our journey of personal development. They teach us patience, humility, and resilience. They remind us that growth isn't always smooth and that success is often built on the foundation of past failures. Embrace your mistakes, reflect on them, and use them as stepping stones to a wiser, stronger, and more capable version of yourself. This mindset doesn't just make you more skilled or successful, it makes you resilient, adaptable, and unstoppable in your pursuit of a better life. Recognizing your own value is fundamental to building a life that aligns with your true potential and desires. Often people underestimate their worth, doubting their abilities, or believing that they don't deserve to live their best life. This mindset can lead to a life of settling for jobs that don't fulfill them, relationships that drain them, or habits that don't serve their growth. When you recognize your own value, you start to demand more from life and make decisions that reflect respect for yourself. You stop accepting less than you deserve, and you begin to focus on choices that bring you closer to your goals, your purpose, and ultimately to a life of fulfillment. Understanding your own value begins with self-awareness. Self-awareness is the foundation upon which self-worth is built. It involves taking the time to look within and understand who you are, your strengths, weaknesses, passions, and fears. Many people drift through life without fully understanding themselves, which leaves them vulnerable to external opinions and approval. When you're not sure who you are or what you stand for, it's easy to let others define your worth. You may find yourself seeking validation from outside sources, whether it's approval from friends, praise from colleagues, or even likes and follows on social media. But true value comes from within, and it's something that remains steady regardless of outside opinions. Once you have a strong sense of self-awareness, you can start to identify your unique qualities. Each person has a unique blend of skills, talents, and perspectives that make them valuable. Maybe you're a compassionate listener, an analytical thinker, or a creative problem solver. Recognizing your strengths gives you confidence and reminds you that you have something special to offer. And this sense of confidence is crucial in every area of life, from personal relationships to career pursuits. When you understand your unique qualities, you can leverage them to make a positive impact, stand out, and pursue opportunities that allow you to shine. Another important aspect of valuing yourself is setting boundaries. When you recognize your own worth, you no longer tolerate disrespect, toxic relationships, or situations that drain you. Boundaries are a way of saying, I value myself enough to protect my time, energy, and well-being. Setting boundaries may mean distancing yourself from people who constantly bring negativity into your life, saying no to commitments that don't align with your goals, or carving out time for self-care. Boundaries are not about being selfish, they are about self-respect. They help you preserve your energy for the things that truly matter, so you can put your best self forward in everything you do. Self-worth also impacts the standards you set for yourself. People who recognize their value tend to have higher standards for how they live their lives. They aim for excellence, strive for growth, and refuse to settle for mediocrity. When you know your worth, you realize that you deserve to pursue your dreams, that you're capable of achieving great things, and that you have the right to say no to anything that doesn't serve your goals. These standards apply not only to external pursuits, but also to how you treat yourself. Are you taking care of your physical health? Are you investing in your mental and emotional well-being? When you have a high sense of self-worth, you make choices that reflect care and respect for yourself. One of the biggest obstacles to recognizing one's value is the tendency to compare oneself to others. In a world where social media constantly showcases people's highlight reels, it's easy to feel as though you're not enough. But comparison is the thief of joy and the destroyer of self-worth. Everyone has a unique journey, a different set of challenges, and a distinct path to follow. Just because someone else appears to have more doesn't mean that you're worth any less. Learning to value yourself means focusing on your own journey, setting your own goals, and measuring success by your own standards, not someone else's. When you stop comparing and start celebrating your own achievements, big or small, you cultivate a deep sense of satisfaction and confidence in who you are. Valuing yourself also means not being afraid to invest in your growth. When you recognize your worth, you realize that you are worth the time, effort, and resources it takes to improve and evolve. This might mean pursuing further education, learning new skills, practicing self-care, or investing time in hobbies that bring you joy. Growth requires commitment, and when you believe in your own value, you become committed to bettering yourself. You understand that each investment in yourself is a step toward a more fulfilling life. Your value is not something that comes from external achievements, material possessions, or the validation of others. It comes from within and is rooted in self-acceptance. Recognizing your value means accepting yourself fully, the strengths, the flaws, the past, and the dreams. When you accept yourself, you stop trying to fit into boxes that others have created, and you start living in alignment with your true self. Self-acceptance doesn't mean you don't strive for improvement. It means you approach improvement with compassion and a positive mindset, knowing that you're already enough just as you are. When you truly recognize your own value, you step into a mindset of abundance. You begin to see the world as full of opportunities rather than limitations. You realize that there's no need to settle or compromise because there are plenty of paths to success and happiness. You start taking calculated risks, pursuing dreams you once thought were out of reach, and building a life that aligns with your passions and goals. Recognizing your value gives you the confidence to go after what you want without fear, doubt, or hesitation. You stop waiting for permission to live your best life and start creating it on your own terms. Recognizing your own value is about building a solid foundation of self-respect, confidence, and a commitment to growth. It's a mindset that affects every decision you make, from the relationships you nurture to goals you pursue, and the standards you hold yourself to. When you know your worth, you take charge of your life, making choices that reflect respect and care for yourself. You're no longer at the mercy of other people's opinions, nor are you swayed by temporary setbacks. Instead, you're focused, driven, and unstoppable, knowing that you have what it takes to create a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. Recognizing your own value is not just a skill, it's a lifelong journey that empowers you to step into your true potential and live with purpose and passion. Choosing actions that are aligned with where you want to be in life is one of the most empowering steps you can take toward meaningful progress. Too often, people find themselves drifting through their days, responding to circumstances as they arise rather than intentionally setting a course. But if you want to achieve something substantial, you need to make decisions that consistently align with your goals. This means being clear about what you truly want and taking intentional, steady steps toward it. Instead of making choices based on temporary feelings or external pressures, you build your life around purpose and direction. Every choice you make has the power to either move you closer to your goals or pull you further away. This concept may sound simple, but it requires a high level of awareness and discipline. Daily habits and actions may seem insignificant, yet they are the building blocks of long-term results. People often underestimate the impact of small actions, but it's those consistent choices that ultimately create momentum. A person who spends a few hours each day working on a side project or learning a new skill will be miles ahead of someone who lets distractions consume their time. It's the difference between drifting with the current or setting a deliberate course toward a destination. To choose actions that align with your goals, you must first gain clarity about what those goals are. It's easy to say, I want success or I want to be happier, but vague desires rarely lead to focused actions. You need specific, measurable goals that give you a sense of direction. If you're aiming for career advancement, what exactly does that look like? Maybe it means achieving a certain position within 5 years, or perhaps it's about developing a specific skill set. For health, it might mean a consistent exercise routine or dietary changes. Once you have clear goals, you can begin to map out the actions required to achieve them. And that clarity helps you say yes to things that matter and no to distractions. After setting clear goals, the next step is to align your daily choices with them. This requires self-discipline and the ability to look beyond short-term gratification. We live in a world that offers endless distractions, from social media to television and endless streams of entertainment. These may be enjoyable in the moment, but over time, they can lead you away from your purpose. Choosing actions that align with your goals means prioritizing long-term satisfaction over short-term pleasure. It's about saying no to what is easy or tempting in the moment so you can say yes to what truly matters in the long run. It's deciding that today's comfort is not as important as tomorrow's growth. To keep your actions aligned with your goals, it's helpful to create routines and habits that support them. Habits are powerful because they allow you to make progress without constantly relying on willpower. For example, if your goal is to write a book, setting aside time each day to write, even if it's just a few paragraphs, will eventually lead to a finished manuscript. If you want to improve your health, incorporating daily exercise or meal prep into your routine makes it easier to stay on track. Habits become automatic over time, reducing the mental effort required to make positive choices. They're the shortcuts that allow you to stay focused on your goals without exhausting yourself. Self-reflection is another essential part of aligning your actions with your goals. Regularly checking in with yourself allows you to evaluate your progress and make adjustments as needed. Life is dynamic and your goals may evolve over time. Reflection helps you stay in touch with your changing aspirations and ensures that you're still on the right path. It's also a way to celebrate small wins, which can be incredibly motivating. By taking time to reflect on what's working and what isn't, you stay aware of your progress and can make course corrections when necessary. Reflection keeps you grounded in your purpose, preventing you from straying too far from your path. One of the most challenging aspects of aligning your actions with your goals is dealing with setbacks and failures. No matter how committed you are, there will be times when things don't go as planned. In these moments, it's easy to feel discouraged or question whether your efforts are worth it. But setbacks are part of the journey, and they offer valuable lessons if you're willing to look for them. When you encounter obstacles, View them as opportunities to reassess and strengthen your resolve. Ask yourself what went wrong, what you could do differently next time, and how you can use this experience to make better choices in the future. Resilience is key to maintaining alignment, and every setback is a chance to deepen your commitment. Another way to ensure your actions remain aligned with your goals is to surround yourself with people who support your aspirations. The people you spend time with can have a significant impact on your choices. If you're surrounded by people who share similar values or are pursuing their own goals, you'll find it easier to stay motivated and focused. On the other hand, being around those who are indifferent to progress or engage in habits that don't serve you can make it more challenging to stay on track. Building a supportive community or finding mentors who can offer guidance and encouragement can be incredibly valuable in helping you maintain alignment. Remember that alignment is a continuous process. It's not about making one big decision and coasting to success. Instead, it's about making small, consistent choices that keep you moving in the right direction. Alignment requires regular adjustments, self-awareness, and a commitment to your purpose. There will be days when it feels easy and days when it feels like a struggle. The important thing is to keep showing up, keep making choices that support your goals, and keep your focus on the bigger picture. Over time, those choices add up, and you find yourself not only achieving your goals, but living a life that truly reflects your values and aspirations. Aligning your actions with your goals is about living with intention, making choices that honor your potential, and creating a path that leads to fulfillment and purpose. When you commit to this approach, you stop wasting time on distractions, and every action you take becomes a step toward the life you want to create. It's a path of self-respect, discipline, and purpose. By consistently choosing actions that align with where you want to be, you empower yourself to reach heights you once thought were out of reach. It's about building a life of meaning, driven by choices that reflect who you are and where you're going. To sum up, living with purpose means taking control of your choices and actions in a way that reflects respect for yourself and a commitment to your goals. This is about more than just momentary motivation. It's a lifestyle rooted in self-discipline, clarity, and continuous self-improvement. When you stop reacting to life's distractions and start proactively aligning your actions with your vision, you break free from the cycle of settling, doubting, and accepting less than you deserve. Recognizing your worth is where it all starts. Once you know what you're capable of and what you bring to the table, everything changes. You begin to set boundaries that protect your energy, establish goals that are specific and actionable, and adopt habits that consistently push you forward. Even on tough days, your sense of purpose keeps you anchored, and setbacks only strengthen your resolve. As you learn to surround yourself with supportive people and continually refine your path, you evolve into a version of yourself you can be proud of. This journey isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Day by day, you build a life that truly honors your potential and brings you closer to your dreams. Each choice you make reflects your commitment to a higher standard and the life you aspire to create. The future you envision begins with the actions you take today, so choose wisely, stay focused, and keep moving forward. The results will speak for themselves.